Maria, you gonna lead the singing?
Oh, no.
Pat, are you leading the singing?
I'm fixing something to eat.
Oh, okay.
I said, when you
Is
play
Lee
all
not gonna be?
Yeah, I wish I could. Okay, I'm gonna lead, but I apologize in advance. I make a joyful noise.
What version are you gonna sing?
I gotta find it first.
No, in that picture down there, they said you brought that picture to the cross. Can you see it down there? It's a cross. They said you brought back from somewhere.
1, 2, and 4, if we make it past 1.
2 and 4.
Alright, y'all ready? Thank y'all, amen. Good job. Thank you, Jen.
Well, there's that leadership.
You got it, Miss Girl.
Can't wait to hear that on the speaker. They got the full run, I believe. Okay, this is gonna be the Susan show today, I'm assuming. Unless somebody wants to help.
What is it?
Oh, Jamie says she would. Okay, for the prayer list, Tracy and Trish, Jamala's family, the loss of Tracy's aunt, Juanita Stiegel. I don't know, was that relation to Louise? Do you know if that was a relation, Tracy's aunt to?
I thought it was her aunt.
It is, but is it Juanita Stiegel? Was that on her mom or dad's side? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't
Okay.
know. Probably her, I'm thinking it might be, I don't know, her dad maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. Yeah, okay.
True.
And then Kiefer and Alicia Barron family, the loss of Alicia's grandmother, Wilma Fox. And Wilma's the lady that used to come here and was a part of our class for a long time. So I'm anxious to hear when the services will be on that. Dorothy,
That is my business.
just the same ones, I think. I haven't seen anyone new. Chuck, how is Ernestine doing?
Oh, good, good.
You doing good?
Yeah, she don't get up, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, and we're good. We're glad to have you today with us, Chuck. So very, very nice to see you.
Now, are you Ernestine's,
yeah.
you're related to her?
seen
That's
my
her
wife.
husband.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
Really?
I've seen her.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yes.
She
Yeah.
hid you.
Yeah.
Huh?
She's been hiding you, I've never met you.
I've been going to my marketplace over there.
Okay.
I was trying to, I get those, so I come over.
Well, we're glad you
You're in
did.
the right place.
We're very glad you came.
You worked a long time.
I retired.
Let's go visit Juan. Let's go visit Juan. You just-
Oh, that's okay. All right, any news on Stella?
I did. Russell called me this morning, her son.
Yeah.
He said yesterday Stella fell
Oh.
and cracked her hip.
Oh,
And they were still in the emergency room at Kingwood Hospital.
Yeah.
She was in a room, in the emergency room. They're waiting on, they did x-rays and all that.
Yeah.
And they're waiting on the doctor to come in there and tell them, what they're gonna do.
Oh, bless her
So
heart.
she was in quite a bit of pain, but they gave her something to make her, so she would be a little bit sleepy.
Yeah.
She was sleeping, but he said she fell yesterday.
Ah, bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Who were you
Okay.
talking about?
Get on.
Stella.
Stella.
Stella, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. So sad. Okay.
You know, I seen her in the store, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure she recognized me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have, but she could have had other stuff on her
She
mind.
still wanted to get up and walk, and like to be, but isn't she 90 years old?
She's 90,
Or 90?
92. 92 because Dawn is 90
Yeah,
and
okay.
she and Charles were
We're
older.
older, yeah.
Yeah.
So 92.
She just turned 92, I
Well,
think.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She does.
But she has gone through, hasn't she? I mean, I always told her when I or first saw her, join the class, I told her, said, you're gonna blow away in this wind. She's always been so frail. Okay,
In the store a couple of weeks ago.
Pat, your mom, your family,
She's doing fair.
you there? Okay.
I do want to put my stepmother on the list, Donna Short. She had a pacemaker put in right before the holidays last
Okay.
year. They didn't want to do it, but it was the last option, so
Yeah.
they did it. And it's 6 months in, and she's starting to have the same problems again. They said it was a temporary fix,
Yeah.
and there are no other options for her.
That's right, yeah.
So, she's a good Christian lady. So,
Where does she live?
she lives over there, by Jersey Village. She
Oh.
goes to the Jersey Village Baptist Church. I think that's the name of it. Baptist Church over there.
Okay. Anybody else, prayer request? I see, thank you, Lynn. I see Jimmy disappeared, but he has really been having, he was having some neck problems, and he had where they go in and burn the nerve, and he's had that on both sides, so his neck's better. Just the last day or two, his hip has just really started bothering him, so he's having a hard time with that. I saw him limping earlier, and this morning I asked him, I said, how's your hip? He goes, it's there, so he don't ever really complain, but we know how that hurts, so. Okay, my son's friend, sister, that we talked about, Jennifer, that was having such hard problems, she was doing better, but having some mental, like she wasn't recognizing everyone like she had before. I'm not sure if they ever ended up cutting off her toes or part of her foot or anything like they had talked about. They had also talked about taking off a finger. She's the one who's got real bad diabetes. But he texted me this morning and said, please pray that she's back in the ICU and having, I think he said like neuro seizures or something, and that they thought it was maybe she was having, let me think of the word, NBI, something. Anyway, it had to do with a brain injury. Maybe when they went in and was working on her brain before, oh, traumatic, that's what it is, TBI, traumatic brain injury. So she's back in the ICU, so she's not doing well.
I have one too.
Yes, ma'am.
We went to a funeral this week. I don't know who all knows, June probably does, the Alaska family.
Alaska.
Yeah, they've been out in Huffman for 45. Anyway, the dad, George Alaska, passed away.
Okay.
And he had, they've all, one of his sons runs a marina down here at Luce's Bio, and, you know, they've been in Huffman, Little League involvement,
Yeah.
everywhere, great people.
Okay.
And he passed away.
Okay. Is that spelled with an A?
It's Elasco.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was an A or an E.
Elasco, yeah.
Alaska. Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Got a price report.
Okay.
I'm no longer diabetic. I've been on that Ozempic,
Yes?
and the doctor told me that I was no longer diabetic.
Wow.
I never heard that of anybody.
I hadn't either.
Celebrate.
All right,
That's
man,
not good.
that's right. So if y'all didn't hear what Shirley said, called you by the right name? Shirley said that she was no longer diabetic. She'd been taking the Ozempic. And as we all could see, she's lost quite a bit of weight from that, and now she's no longer diabetic. So that's fantastic. So you're not taking anything anymore? You're still taking
Ozempic.
She's still
taking the Ozempic,
Yeah.
but as a weight loss thing? Or,
I don't know why the doctor told her that.
I don't take very much of it. I never took over the
Yeah.
initial dose of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it
I hadn't
reversing.
either. Well, what it was, my A1C was 5.
Wow.
And so she said, when you hit 5, you're no longer diabetic. First, she said, you don't have to come back no more. And then I said, really? Well, how am I gonna get my medicine?
Yeah.
You know,
Then
that,
you come back in 6 months, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
that's true, that's advertised quite a bit on TV, but my niece is diabetic too. And she took, what's it, Ozempic? And she takes it. And her diabetes is getting better, and she's lost weight. But they don't like to advertise it. I saw where they don't like to advertise it, you know, for weight loss.
Yes.
But it will make you lose.
Oh, well, that's what, you know, Jimmy was taking it, but he wasn't having really success with it. He'd been on metformin before.
Yeah.
He eats quite a bit of sweet sometimes, but it doesn't seem to get very high. You know, his blood work was okay, so.
Yeah, I take it, and I had to go a little higher, and I had to reduce it, so it kept me sick.
Yeah.
But I'm not that lucky on my diabetic. I take a lot of the insulin, I take a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
So
it all keeping me okay, so.
Yeah.
You're
I'm blessed.
diabetic too, aren't you?
Uh,
Don't you have aren't you diabetic? Or are you diabetic?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I take several, I take 2 other insulin shots plus Ozempic. I take a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but it's keeping it down, so
Good.
That's good, yeah.
I'm blessed with medicine.
My son took it as, for weight loss, basically, because he doesn't have diabetes. He was like you know,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make sure that they took care of it before he became diabetic. But he's lost, gosh, probably 150 pounds off of it.
Wow.
Yeah, because you remember he was on the steroids, and they had diagnosed him in New Jersey, not diagnosed him in New Jersey, but they gave him like 3 times the amount of steroids he was supposed to be taking. And so he just really just blew up, you know. But he's been on this for like 1.5 to 2 years, and yeah, he's lost. It's amazing what he can do.
I have a comment about medicine. Medicine can keep you well, and you have to take it. But sometimes if you take it very long, it'll turn toxic on you, and it'll start making you sick.
Yeah.
Even though you've been taking it, it's helped you, so you really watch your medicine.
Yes.
Pay attention to how you feel.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, don't forget the food pantry cookbook fundraiser. I was looking through my recipes yesterday. My brother called and he wanted his daughter and his new girlfriend wanted Mom's kolache recipe. Any of y'all have a kolache recipe? Do you? Yeah. You ever made them?
No, but I think I might have made them years and years ago.
Yeah.
It's a sweet dough,
Uh-huh.
and you know, you have to, and then you make them, and you punch, you know, but I haven't made them in years.
Oh, I grew up on them. Good morning.
We love kolaches, yeah.
Oh, I mean, my mom and my grandmother and the family and everybody around, they would always fix kolaches. I was raised on that, you know, and of course, you know, true kolache has a fruit filling.
It does.
It's
not
not
like
what we brought over here.
it's
you know.
not like you see in the store with the little, you know, the kolaches.
Yeah.
And when you make that dough and then you punch it down and you put your, and Rala likes the, what kind do you like? The seed. the
Poppy seed?
Poppy seed.
Oh, yeah. I think Jimmy probably likes poppy seed. I don't care for it. That was never
I
mine.
like the fruit ones.
Apricot. And then you put a paprika on top?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah,
The butter and sugar?
White, yeah.
Yeah,
white
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, that's
I
fine.
mean, I might like your recipe too, but I
Okay.
don't ever make them anymore.
Anyway, yeah.
There's a place up in, Brenham that we've gone through that was, they
Oh,
sell
yeah.
meat and all that, and they have got the real kolaches.
Well, and on the way west on I-10 too, I don't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I did that, I found the Huffman cookbook that, I guess it came out, what, maybe 14, 15,
Yeah.
16 years ago?
I remember that.
Yeah, but I came across that, so it's like, it's got some good recipes.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, bring your, maybe I'll put the kolache recipe
Well,
in
yeah.
there. That'd be good.
So what do they want us to do? Bring the recipes to where?
To just, I think you can either drop it off at the office, or, yeah, or you can even email it to Charlie, and it's got her
Oh.
address in here, so you can email it to her or whatever, so. Okay, and they want those by the 30th, and they need at least 50, so, recipes. But you know, they're gonna expect it from our group, right? They always expect it from us, because some of y'all have the most experience cooking. Okay, and then the Wednesday night Bible study that's gonna be on Revelations. Does anybody know if that's the Wednesday night Bible study that Brother Mike does, or is this another one?
No, I think it is Brother Mike.
It is,
I
okay.
think so, because it
Yeah.
starts at 6:30.
Yeah, and it's gonna be right over here in room 103.
Where's 103?
It's right, the door right past the fellowship hall.
Then it's
I don't think
probably
he
not.
does the one down in the youth center.
Yes, so it must be-
Well, I hate it so that means it won't be videoed, because I was thinking, man, I'd love to video that, you know, but apparently it won't be, so.
Jen, who did you say was going to teach?
I don't remember who's going to teach, but another man, but I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and we had someone come in today, so, hi.
Hi,
I'm Susan,
I'm Michelle Stafford.
Michelle Stafford. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else before we get to the lesson? Don't forget on August 6th, they're gonna have this
Yeah.
slab signing. Okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
She's a young and
So I was looking for the new class.
Oh, that's okay.
yes, Jerry and Mel.
Yes. But maybe I'll be back.
Okay.
Study begins in Revelation
Yeah, on the 26th.
26 at 6:30, so it's not 30.
Okay. So we are in Jeremiah 23. Oh, we didn't have a word for it, did we? Sorry. Okay. would you lead us in prayer, please?
Father God, we just thank you for the opportunity to get together in fellowship and just praise your name. And we lift up those who were named today, and I'm sure there's many more that we know that they need your healing hand upon them, Father, as you are the great healer. And you're the only one that has the power to heal or not heal here on earth according to your will. And we also pray for those who need support to take care of their loved ones and even other family members who are supporting them. They need your strength as well, Father. And some not mentioned was our military and our policemen and firemen, our first responders. I just pray that you continue to give them safety day in and day out, and especially those that are in our area, Father, who call upon us and who protect us. And then the children, the ones in the military who protect this country. Pray for the leadership of our nation, and you continue to just keep an eye on it, watch over them and protect them, and just guide them in every decision making they do. And Father, we just thank you also for being able to live in the country such as we live, with the freedom to worship you. And we just pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we'd like to welcome the ones that are watching on video or YouTube or Facebook. Good to have everyone here. Let's see. Okay, so in Jeremiah 23, we're going to start at verse 1. It says in the previous chapter, which we have not studied because we were in 18 last week, but it says the previous chapter, God announced judgment and doom against several kings of Judah. In those days, kings and other leaders were called shepherds. And so when he's talking about the shepherds, and we kind of got into that last time, I think, but he's mostly talking about the leaders, the kings, and that's how they were referred to, but the kings and the also probably the priests, the kings and the priests. So verses 1 through 2 say, "Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. This is the Lord's declaration. Therefore, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says about the shepherds who tend my people. You have scattered my flock, banished them, and they have not attended to them. I'm about to attend to you because of your evil acts. This is the Lord's declaration." Wow. I don't think I'd want the Lord to tell me, I'm fixing to tend to you how you tend to everybody else. That would be something to make us sit up and take notice, wouldn't it? Well, it says that the shepherd was a common theme throughout the Old Testament. It says Isaiah, Ezekiel, Micah, Zechariah, they all use the same term in their prophecies. And then in the New Testament, remember Peter, whenever Jesus told him 3 times, "Feed my sheep," that he was to be a shepherd of leading the church. It says that they were going to, you scattered my flock, banished them, and have not attended to them. This is where they were, when they were scattered to Babylon and Egypt, and, just when these Assyrians and the people would come and they would, because actually Judah was a small little place. It wasn't real big, and they were surrounded by the evil nations. And so when they would have, they would fight or whatever, then they might take them to another country. And so they had been scattered at this point. It says, "This is the Lord's declaration." We've talked about that before, how Jeremiah saying, hey, this came from God. This is from the Lord. I'm just the messenger here. And it talks about tending. And it says that that's the same root word as like a shepherd. But, you know, they had to take care of them from wild animals. They had to feed them. They had to do a lot of things. They had to water them. That was their sole job, you know. And they had to tend to them so that none were lost. I mean, that was their income, right? I mean, that was, you know, like us taking care of a dog or cat that gets in your way all the time. So, they were, you know, this was their livelihood they were doing. And so he's telling the kings and stuff, you know, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be taking care of them. And the same would be true today. That we need leaders that will tend to us and provide for us, and, you know, make sure that we don't have other countries coming in and taking us away. So they have a big job to do also. It says the Hebrew word for banished is a strong word that implies an intentional disregard. Not just, you know, well, we wasn't thinking and so this happened. No, this was intentional. They were intentionally not leading their sheep. Verse 3 says, I will gather the remnant of my flock from all the lands where I have banished them, and I will return, I will return them to their grazing land. They will become fruitful and numerous. So we know that remnant is those that are remaining. And it often denotes a faithful group of people who were saved. The group would receive the Lord's personal attention. When he says that, you know, I will return them to their grazing land, the promised land where he wanted them, you know, where he had made for them, where he took care of them. It says that he said he would gather his people from all the lands, wherever they had been. He would bring them back to their grazing land or their promised land. It says they would become fruitful and numerous. And that's the same kind of wording than back in Genesis when he told the animals and the people to, you know, be fruitful and multiply and things like that. I was looking at one of the commentators, and it says, modern day miracle of Israel becoming an independent nation, again after some 2,500 years, is an initial fulfillment. You remember whenever there was all the talk, I'm not sure when it happened, but years ago, whenever, you know, Jerusalem was going back and everybody's like, oh, you know, Lord's going to be returning, because you know, in Matthew it says that they had to go back to their, you know, take over their property again and stuff. Well, it says this is just the initial, or it's just partial of what's happening. It's kind of the beginning of God fulfilling his promise to the world. But it says that they are presently in unbelief. They don't believe. You know, they still don't accept Jesus as the Messiah. And until they do, you know, it's not going to be complete. Verse 4 says, I will raise up shepherds over them, excuse me, who will tend them. They will no longer be afraid or discouraged, nor will any be missing. This is the Lord's declaration. Again, he's saying that this will be fulfilled when they accept the Messiah. Excuse me. So God affirmed that his people would not be afraid or discouraged. I mean, can you imagine the Israelites and you know, they just lived in turmoil, didn't they? I mean, it's their own fault. And it was the judges, I mean, not the judges, but the kings that were evil is what got them there. They were the shepherds that were not tending to them. And they never knew what was gonna happen. I think we're almost feeling like that today. I mean, with so much turmoil going on in the other countries and things happening, we don't know what's gonna happen. And I can't imagine, you know, the fact that they had friends and family that had been sent in exile. You know, we really don't have that. So they're anxious, and their fear and their unrest had to be so much greater than ours is today. I mean, can you imagine? That would just be horrible. And he says, you will no longer be afraid or discouraged, nor will any be missing. This is the Lord's declaration. And when it says none will be missing, it kind of makes you think of the story about the 99 sheep and the one that's lost. And, you know, they're supposed to go find the shepherd. The good shepherd will go and find that one that is lost. But, you know, it made me think, all the children that are missing, all the people that are just, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but when I've been listening to the news, that's all I hear is about this child is missing, or that child's missing, or this toddler, or this, you know, 40-year-old woman, or whatever. It's just everywhere. And for the people that have gone through that and have had that experience, it's not going to be anymore. We're not going to have to worry about our children. You know, I got this little one over here that's the light of my life. But, you know, and do I worry? Yeah. I worry. I put it in God's hands, but that doesn't make this heart worry, you know. And whenever Jesus comes back, we won't have any worry. No worry whatsoever. And that's just something to look forward to, isn't it?
Susan,
Yes.
well, you know, when you do watch the news or whatever, and you see this about children, and I think of my youngest grandkids, they're all in their early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're all smart, but you know, I pray for them. I think, you know, I'm afraid that, you know, you see people missing.
Yes.
And that can happen so quick.
Oh, well, yeah.
Even though, you know, they're told, you know, to be careful with your surroundings and stuff like that, but it's scary when you think about your grandkids or kids or whoever, anybody's kids.
Right.
You know, being out in the world and just gullible, just going here, going there.
Right.
I feel like sometimes when I watch the news, I feel like I'm living in a different country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's scary.
It is.
It's just very scary.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
You know, I try to teach my grandkids I used wildlife for analogy. I tell them, you know, when you're watching this about deer getting a drink, some of them just walk up there and say the predator's laying watching them. He's watching the one that's not paying attention. Some of them drink, get up and look around, some drink, look around, some don't. And they zero in on the one that's not paying attention, and they go to get them.
That's right.
And so you can use wildlife kind of as a good example of being aware of your surroundings and being cautious. Because they go get the ones that's not paying attention.
That's right.
Right.
It's scary. You have to be very, and you know, when you walk out of a store, you better look around and you're putting your groceries up. That's real.
Absolutely. And so many after going to the bank or whatever, people following them home and everything. I mean, it's just, it's in everything. I don't know that there's any time or place or whatever I feel completely safe anymore.
I know.
I just don't.
And I'm not sure you could stop an experienced predator, because a guy's a predator or whoever it is, they could tow you off, and kids would think that would never happen to me. But they're good at what they do, and
that's their expertise.
About all you do is pray for them and just hope it don't happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It is. And you're right. That's, you know, I was thinking that they think they're like, well, that'll never happen to me. You know, that's going to be somebody else, but it happens to those people
right now that have lost their kids that say, you know, I never dreamed like, you know, you can be living somewhere, and I said, well, you know, we've been knowing those neighbors forever, we didn't
Yeah.
think that would happen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they had a program on TV where they got these parents, and they taught their kids very well, and they volunteered to be on the test. And they said there was no way their kids would be told off. They talked to their kids, and they were sure they were right. And they would set them up, and they'd tow them off, and these people, I can't believe they did that.
I know.
Yes, yeah.
Wasn't that a TV program, says, what would you do?
You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it? Okay. I haven't
We're
seen
all
it.
that way, even our adults, I've done things that
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how come we get in that mess, you know? Or,
Yeah.
you know, you do
Yeah.
things, later you look at it and you think, man, I wasn't even thinking, you know?
Or, you know, scammed or something, you know, we all know it's out there, and then yet, most people you've talked to have been scammed in one way or the other, you know?
You know, we've been walking around in bear country, and if a bear had been after us, we could, you know, we look back on it and think, well, that's a fool. to do that.
Some of the things we did, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
You were the.
She
first.
tried to warn me. She told me I'm just the only fool.
I knew I was in danger.
It says, leaders are accountable to God for their actions. When they fail to lead well and instead steer their people towards evil, God holds them accountable. On the other hand, leaders who serve faithfully will be a blessing to their people and also enjoy God's blessing. Verse 5 says, look, the days are coming. This is the Lord's declaration, when I will raise up a righteous branch for David. He will reign wisely as king and administer justice and righteousness in the land. The days are coming. Sometimes in the Bible when that's said, it's kind of like judgment's coming. You know, the day is going to come. But this one is the days are coming when I will rise up a righteous branch for David. And so this, you know, God had made David the promise that his heirs would always be on the throne or whatever. But at one point, it was like David's tree was just cut down. The stump was there, but the branches were not. He you know, they had gone to another group and said there's a day coming when God's going to get that stump and he's going to, you know, make the branches shoot forth. And that's, you know, kind of the analogy I think that the author's trying to make is that that branch will come back. And of course we know that that's Jesus the Messiah. It says that Jeremiah affirmed this branch will reign wisely. It says that it's going to administer justice and righteousness. And how many times today, goodness gracious, you know, we don't have in our country the evilness, but it's not the righteousness either, is it? You know, used to, we had heroes we could look up to. We had people that we admired and respected, you know. I mean, you know, when you think of like Ronald Reagan or the first Bush or whoever, you know, those were people that we admired and respected, and they were in office, and that's what you should do with people in office. And then now, it doesn't matter which party's in office.
Can't admire them.
No, you can't. They are not really leading in righteousness and being fair, I guess. You know, it's always like, well, this party and that party and everything, and it's just gotten out of hand. But thankfully, it's still not anything like the communist countries or Russia or, you know, where they are just going completely against the people. Verse 6 says, in his days Judah will be saved. And that's talking about when righteous branch of David's coming. In his days, Judah will be saved, and Israel will dwell securely. This is the name he will be called. The Lord is our righteousness. Judah will be saved, and Israel dwells securely. What an experience for them, right? I don't think they've ever felt secure since, they were led out of Egypt, I guess. It says that the word saved, this word can mean either physical deliverance or spiritual salvation, and both of these are intended here. Peace in the hearts. And it says Israel, I would talk about that a while ago. It says the branch, God's people, would know everlasting security. The name, the Lord is our righteousness, because he's got the perfect judgment and the perfect righteousness. But it says that Isaiah's prophecy also associated the Messiah with the tribute to righteousness. Verse 7 through 8. Look, the days are coming, the Lord's declaration, when it will no longer be said, as the Lord lives, who brought the Israelites from the land of Egypt, but as the Lord lives, who brought and led the descendants of the house of Israel from the land of the north and from all the other countries where I had banished them. They will dwell once more in their own land. I don't know anything about the Jewish religion or anything, but I want, they're so etched into the Old Testament, but I wonder if they read the prophets. Here's hope. Here's something for them to think about that will come in the future.
Their problem, though, is they don't recognize Jesus Christ, and
Right.
here's where the hope is at.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where salvation is at.
Exactly.
And there has been a partial fulfillment of
Right.
this prophecy
Yes.
in 1948, when after thousands of years, their land was
Right.
gone, or
Yeah.
hundreds,
Mhm.
and then they're back in their land in
Yeah.
48. There's Israel. Today, there's a whole country.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
the
you. I
lesson-
couldn't remember when that was.
I think the lesson kind of referred to that was greater than when Moses brought them out of Egypt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Whenever he went back.
Yeah,
And they're still coming back to it, especially today. I know you all keep up with the news, the anti-Semitic goings on that
Yeah.
are happening around the world.
Yes.
They are no longer feeling safe in their adopted countries,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are going back to Israel.
Are they? Yeah.
And
And
it's, we're watching all
Yes,
this
we are.
happen right now.
Yes.
Right now.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. We are, Paul thought the coming of the Lord was going to be, in his time. But, it just seems like it, don't it? That it's just getting closer and closer, and everything that's happening and going on. We are going closer. It just seems like instead of going this way, we're like going down in towards that time. Excuse me, but yes. It says God's deliverance of Israel from Egypt was just indeed amazing, but he had more in store, didn't he? It says, we can trust Jesus as our righteous king. Many kings reigned throughout Israel's history. It says there were the writer of 1st and 2nd Kings says that there were 19 leaders of the northern kingdom, and they were all evil. And there were 8 of Judah's 20 kings that followed God. The evilness was just rampant. That's what I'm saying. They should have so much hope, if they just would realize Verse 9 says, concerning the prophets, my heart is broken within me. Now this is Jeremiah writing. And all my bones tremble. I have become like a drunkard, like a man overcome by wine, because of the Lord, because of his holy words. And it says, you know, all the prophets were against Jeremiah. You know, he is like in, was it Ezekiel's time when he, you know, they all were, or Elijah, where they were all against these prophets, you know. You might have had hundreds of prophets out there, but remember, I think it was it Elijah and the Baal prophets and stuff? Some of the regular prophets had gone to the Baal side and were worshiping Baal. And he was like the only one, you know. And he told God too, he said, I'm the only one. There's no one left but me. And so, this is how Jeremiah feels.
Something like 300 when he
Yeah.
had
Right.
had them struck down, it was like 300 on that
Yeah,
side.
300 on the other side.
Yeah, I have a comment about Baal. The reason they kept trying to worship Baal was because of climate change. And don't you see a similarity of that today? Climate change is what's driving us in the ground because they won't let us manufacture anything, they won't let us mine anything. It's all climate change. They want to take fuel away from us. They want to change our whole life because of climate change. And that's what Baal is. Baal was a worship of fertility, which is rain. If you worship Baal, it'll rain or crops will grow.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same thing. It's climate change.
I didn't
And that's right
realize
where
that.
we're at today. It's
Yeah.
climate change. It's what's
Yeah.
driving people back to Baal.
Right.
It's like, look, if you worship Baal, we'll get prosperity. So they dealt with the same problems we deal with today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I can't figure out if the electrical grid can't handle summer heat. How it's gonna handle millions and millions of cars. I don't know. Haven't figured that one out yet. But he's, you know, here he's upset. His heart is broken. It says that, it says he felt like a drunkard because it was like his mind couldn't grasp it. You know, his mind could not grasp how all the prophets were against him, and you know, they had tried to kill him. You know, that was in some of the past verses and lessons that we studied. It says, Jeremiah knew God had appointed him to preach the truth. But what was happening were these false prophets were contradicting him, and they were convincing the people that peace was going to come. And that would be like, you know, I'm up here trying to tell y'all, okay, this world's in a mess, you know, and the preacher and some others come in and go, no, everything's going to be fine, you know, we're going to have this and that, and you know, it'll be okay. And you know, he felt worthless, I guess. He felt like no one was listening, that everyone was against him. Have you ever felt like that? The world's against you? Nothing's going right?
I know Jesus did.
Yes, Jesus
And,
did,
He
absolutely.
even told his when he said that, you know, y'all might flee, and I'll be alone, and yet I'm not alone.
Yes,
So we have to remember that.
that's true.
Even if the only one, and we're standing for Jesus, we still got God on our side.
That's right. Exactly. Good point, Carl. Thank you. Thank you. Verses 10 through 11. For the land is full of adulterers. The land mourns because of the curse, and the grazing lands in the wilderness have dried up. Their way of life has become evil, and their power is not rightly used, because both prophet and priest are ungodly. Even in my house I have found their evil. This is the Lord's declaration. So, not only does Jeremiah feel this way, but the Lord feels this way. It's like, you know, they might be adulterers in the physical sense, but they were definitely adulterers in the spiritual sense. Did I say physical a while ago? Okay. Because, you know, they were worshiping other idols. And so they, you know, God said you can only, you know, one God. And worship of anybody else is idolatry and pretty much persecuting God. And so it says the lands in the wilderness have dried up. He said because of the curse. Now the curse, God sent famine and brought a curse against Judah. And so everything's, you know, is still dried up and they're not turning, you know, so we're worshiping Baal and nothing's happening, but we're still not going to turn to God. And it's like that mentality of, well, everybody else is doing it, you know, they must, you know more than we do. But they don't. And that's that following others type thing, you know. The young adults that say, oh, well, you know, everybody's going, you know. I'll be safe, we're in a group, you know. And then it don't take but 5 seconds for one of them to be weeded out, that one that's not paying attention or whatever. So, says Jeremiah concluded that both the prophets and the priests were ungodly. And these were the ones that were responsible, and the shepherds that he was talking about, that they were the ones that should be doing the best and leading the people. It said, first of all, Jeremiah affirmed that the way of life had become evil and that the general direction of life promoted wickedness at every turn. You know, you can't hardly watch TV anymore without hearing cuss words and this and that and just it's just horrible. There were very few shows anymore. I don't remember, we went to a show the other day, Jimmy and I, and it's that Fast and Furious 10,000 shows that they put out, those movies. And used to the language was pretty good, you know, they might say cuss word here and there. They said the GD word twice. And I'm like, they've never said that in these shows, you know. And these are PG-13 or whatever shows, you know. It's just like, I cannot imagine what an R-rated show is anymore.
You know what? About shows, movies. I don't even know what movie it was, but I was telling Mom that the movie came out a while back, quite a while, it's an older movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it back on TV and on one of the deals. And they added cuss words to it.
Yes.
I mean, because I remember it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't say those curse words.
Was it the one that's about the judge?
Well, I don't know. It might have been. I don't know, but the language, they went in and redid the language to have the curse words in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mentioned him to him. I said, that wasn't in the original movie.
No. Oh, this was an actual movie.
Yeah, it was a movie on TV. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, no, it was a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we first watched it, it was like a, you know, just GA, just a
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I hate to say it, but I thought it wasn't Beethoven. It wasn't Beethoven. Well,
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah.
But it was another movie, and they just went back in and ruined it with the
Isn't
language.
it crazy? It's crazy. I know we were watching a show that was on like Channel 13 or one of the mainstream shows, and we really liked it, you know. Well, it got canceled or whatever. OWN, I think, is that Oprah's thing.
Yeah.
They took it and started it, and I watched that. Man, it went downhill like crazy. All the cuss words, all the, you know, bedroom scenes, everything. It was horrible. It was like, well, can't watch that anymore, you know. Why do people think that's better?
I don't. I think
Yeah.
the one I was watching, I think it was a Western movie.
Oh, really?
Some kind of Western movie.
Yeah, but
I don't know why they have to do that.
no, neither. That's sad. That's sad.
But they're being blinded by the prince of the power of the air.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's all about money, you know, and stuff, you know, the PGs and stuff don't get near the popularity, I guess, of all the other shows.
They don't.
Okay, let's see, and he said he found evil, including his house, the temple. You know, this was, things were getting progressively worse in Judah, and soon judgment would come. And then verse 12 says, therefore their way will seem like slippery paths in the gloom. They will be driven away and fall down there, and I will bring disaster on them. The year of their punishment, this is the Lord's declaration. You know, he announced disaster in the year of their punishment. That'd be horrible to look forward to, wouldn't it? But it says, we cannot root our attitudes and behavior in God's words or merely chase the opinions of those who don't know them. You know, this statement applies to everyone. We have to be responsible for ourselves, just as the shepherds are responsible for leading us to. And, you know, God's going to have his judgment day, so something to not be looking forward to if you're unsaved, if you're not a Christian. But as Christians, we can't wait for the day to come, right? Yes.
Well, you know, we may not be in the leadership, but we also are responsible.
Yes, we are.
To those we influence, like you're
Right.
responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
have responsibility.
Yes, we do. We all do.
Yesterday, I'm
Go
sorry, we were at a restaurant, and when we got the bill, I said, oh, wow, this is good. There were 7 of us, the kids,
Yeah.
and I looked, and I kept looking, because I said, wow, this is reasonable. And I looked at it again, and this kid, you know, this is great. We were at
Yeah.
another restaurant, it was so, and we looked at it, and then my grandson looked at it. I said, there's something missing here.
Yeah.
My grandson looked at it, he said, yes, there's something missing. So I got the waitress and said, you know, you didn't charge us for this, that, and the other. You saved the day, she said.
Yeah.
But we took that moment to teach our grandchildren
Yes.
that there was consequences. If we'd have left knowing that we owed this, that individual that was our server would be charged for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have to take responsibility. I said, the right thing to do is look. That would be like stealing. We took that moment
Yeah.
as a teaching moment
That's right.
that we're held accountable and things are coming.
Yeah.
And this lesson that you've been teaching reminds us, we're held accountable.
Yes.
We've got to know what we're influencing our kids
Right.
and what we do in that. What if